I want to talk a little bit about when things don't go the way that you expect them to. When I started this project, I had the intention of having a fully finished book after 15 days, and that illusion of a grand goal, an excessive goal of writing a 150-page book, roughly 50,000 words, by the end of 15 days. The reality of it is setting in, and I'm beginning to feel like maybe this should have been a 30-day challenge. Nah, who am I kidding? We got this. 15 days, 4 days to go. We can do it. Despite the joke, I am actually really facing some struggles when it comes to writing the book. I've reached a part in the book where I'm really having to problem solve as I go, fixing the plot here and there and making sure that everything throughout is staying consistent with what I've already written. I would like to just sit down and write the whole thing all the way through without looking back and changing things, but I realize if I do that, there's going to be a lot more work afterwards. I'm going to have to go back and change a lot of things and possibly rewrite entire pages or sections of the story. I've written a few thousand words so far already today, and I'm going to keep writing into the night. I had to run some errands and make sure that we stocked up before the inevitable COVID hit me, or hopefully not. We're quarantining, we're in separate rooms, but if that does hit me, I'm not going to be able to go anywhere and to get groceries or anything. And luckily, we have family that can do that for us, so we really appreciate them as well. They stopped by and dropped a lot of things off for us today, so if you're watching, thank you. Like I said yesterday, I'm at a point in the story where we're in that last leg of the rising action, and we are really just, every page there's something crazy happening. And so I really want to do justice for the whole story and making sure that I keep that action going until it hits the climax, and then we can let things fall off from there. But I'm finding it really difficult to write this part of the book. This is, I would say, my least favorite part of the book to write, despite it being one of the most exciting parts, most action-packed parts. I feel like I get too caught up in describing what's happening and how it's happening versus really, I like the part of the story that sets the rest of the story up. I really love the exposition of a story where you get to learn more about the world, you get to learn about the characters, and that whole learning process is one of my favorite parts to read but also write, I have found out. And that's a large part of what illustration is. Illustration is you taking something in your head and giving it the detail and everything that it needs in order to tell an effective story. So you're basically, when you're illustrating something, you're having to think of that first part of the story in order to draw it or illustrate it. And so inevitably, whatever project you are working on, you will face this series of events where the beginning of the project is super exciting and you can't wait to get started. And the first couple days or the first foray into working on the project is just exciting, and you can't help but just to be obsessed over it. You start working on it and you say, well, this isn't quite living up to my expectation. I really had something else in my mind, but this is okay. We're still workable. And you keep going and you keep going, and then that feeling, that high, just kind of wears off. And then you reach this point in the project that you just feel for me anyways, I feel, and this is whenever I work on any project, it could be writing a book, it could be doing a painting, it could be designing a logo, it could be building a website, it could be anything, and I would feel this same sense of imposter syndrome. There's almost a sense of like despair and like depression about the project. And so you inevitably, this always happens, you get super excited, and then all that excitement goes down, and then you have this, what a lot of people refer to as the dark night of the soul. And I think that's where I'm at right now. is I'm still excited about the initial idea of the book and the challenge itself. And I think if I didn't have this challenge set up, this would be where I would give up. This is where I would say, oh man, it's too hard to make this work. It's just really difficult to push past this point. You know, if I wasn't doing the videos every day, I may still finish the book, but it would probably end up being a lot shorter. I probably would give myself some slack and say, oh, well, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a 150-page book. It can be a 50-page book. And I would just wrap the story up and put a nice little bow on it, and I would go about my merry way. But since I'm doing these videos, I set this up intentionally beforehand so that when I reached this point, because inevitably I knew that we were going to get here and that I would face these feelings of just imposter syndrome, where you feel like despite everything that you know is right, you are second guessing every single word you put down. And so that's really what I'm experiencing now, is every single page that I'm writing, I feel like, oh man, this is either way too much, I'm going into too much detail, or the opposite. I feel like I'm leaving so much out that could be there. And so I'm really struggling with how much to put in and how much to hold back. This series of the last couple pages that I've written, it was in the outline, it was only supposed to be one page, but 300 words, but it ended up being 1,500 words. And I got through writing the 1,500 words and it was all still under one page in the outline. And I was like, this is way too much information. I think I just got excited about where I was in the book. And so I just went into a lot of vivid detail and describing where things were, how the place was laid out, and like their environment and everything. And I don't think I need to go into much detail there because I'm going to have illustrations along with the book. And so that's something I think I have to realize is, at what point is this book going to be done versus perfect? And I think perfection is the enemy of progress. I can get too caught up in making something just right and describing something with just the right word that I won't just write the book and let it be and go back. I kind of get caught up in the same paragraph and rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write something and get through this feeling, this slump. And tomorrow I may even do a little bit of concept art for the book, just to get me excited about where it's going and, to reignite that feeling, that passion that I had at the beginning of the project. Because right now, I'm being completely honest with you that I am not excited about this book right now. There are, especially with COVID and everything else that's going on, we haven't been touched by COVID at all, and I feel perfectly fine. I don't have it as far as I know. But just taking care of my wife and making sure she's got everything she needs. And this just right now, it doesn't feel like the most important thing to me, and it's not. My wife is the most important thing. So making sure that she feels good and is taken care of is priority for me. But I made this commitment and I'm going to stick to it. And I'm going to write my daily quota today. And it's almost 10:30 p.m. right now, and it'll probably take me well into the night to hit my quota. So I'll keep chugging along, and I'm glad you're here with me. Otherwise, I probably would have stopped this project after day 5. So I appreciate you watching, everyone who is there. I appreciate everyone on the Reddit community also for tuning in, for checking out my artwork and all that stuff. So thank you. So I want to show you a little bit of something just to get me excited about the project again, and just to keep something interesting in these videos, because I feel like me just sitting here talking about writing the book is not super interesting. So I want to show you something. So this is a painting that I have been working on for the book I don't know exactly where this is going to fit in. I kind of painted it as an example of what could be done. And so it's still in progress. You can see all my messy paint strokes, but it's just this fallen tree with this waterfall in the background. I don't know if it's going to make it into the final book. I imagine it will, just because I've already started it. Why not use it? So this is most likely going to fit into one of the sequences where they're walking through the world, and it's kind of an in-between spot. So that's just a little bit of a teaser into what some of the book process is going to look like after I'm done writing. And that's the part that I'm excited about. I'm not a writer. And so when I attempt to write something, I get in my own head and just completely second guess myself all the time when it comes to the plot, when it comes to descriptions and everything like that. So I'm going to keep working on the book. I'm not going to give up. But this is just a kind of a real and raw what I'm feeling right now, and with everything going on, these are the thoughts that are running through my head, and they may not make sense, so I apologize for that, but it's real and it's what I'm thinking, so hopefully it comes across in the video as genuine. I think I really do need to work on something else to distract myself. And I feel like naturally that is what I would do. When working on a project like this, I would shift to something else. That way I can let my mind sort of recover from like telling myself that what I'm doing is bad and I need to stop, and that imposter syndrome. I would naturally pick up something else and distract myself. And that's part of this whole journey, is overcoming yourself. In the trailer, that's one of the 6 tenets that I quoted, was overcoming self. And so I'm going through that right now. Is the thoughts in my head are not lining up to what I want to see, and so I have to overcome that and just push forward. And it stinks. I mean, I know what to do, and I know that the thoughts in my head are not valid, that they are just voices telling me that I shouldn't move forward, but I'm going to. But maybe I'll work on something else tomorrow that'll sort of break up the monotony of writing, because I'm really starting to feel it, and I'm noticed that I'm writing a lot slower than I have been over the last several days. So maybe we'll get into some concept art, or maybe I'll just do some mindless layout in Adobe InDesign. That's the program that I use to lay out books and other print materials. So maybe we'll get into that a little bit and we'll show that process. Actually, I've already started it, so maybe we'll just look at it now. So this is just a little test layout when I was thinking about making this book. I wanted just to see size-wise what the dimensions would be for the book, and if it's something that I thought I wanted to do. And definitely when I started working on this, I got super excited. I just used some of my art as a placeholder. This is not necessarily what the final book will look like. I kind of like this design and layout. This green over here is my brand color, and so I kind of like it. You know, why not use my brand color, and it fits with the theme of the book. So here, I mean, you just got just started experimenting with what some of this might look like. And so right here, this is the divider of each page. So this is a page and this is a page. So together this makes what's called a spread when you're talking about print design. And so each spread I can lay out, and some illustrations will expand over both spreads. Like you see this one, kind of the center line is right around here. So this one goes over 2 spreads. And then also you got to think about, you know, spacing in between here. Like some of this may get cut off by when the book is folded or when it's laid out flat. I'm planning on doing a hardcover, but so when the book is laid out flat, this will be a lot of lost space. And so that's why we push everything a little over. But some of this you'll lose in the crevice of the spine. So this This page is what really got me excited. This spread was just seeing some of my early concept work, that I've done this concept work. I did this concept work over 2 years ago. And so seeing that in context of an actual page layout just got me super excited. And that is actually, I did this before I even decided to do the 15-day challenge, because I just got super excited about the whole project as a whole. Here you can see a little sneak peek of the races of the world. These are not final illustrations. These are very quick doodles that I just plopped in there because I wanted to get something. This one's a little more finished, and this one's a little more finished, as well as this one, but the rest of these are just little doodles. So yeah, that's, and I went ahead and added all the pages I thought I would need, but I'm gonna need more than those. So I just thought I'd show a little bit of this to get you excited. So with that, I think we'll call it quits. I'm gonna keep writing tonight, but I think that's all that's gonna be in the video. I didn't have much time for anything else today between running errands and COVID and everything else, and that might be a good excuse, but honestly, I think I needed a little bit of a break from creating something in addition to the book. And that's what these videos really are, is I'm doing them as a documentation as well as an accountability mechanism, because if I didn't do these videos, like I said earlier, I probably wouldn't be nearly as far into the book as I am now, or finish it regardless. So I appreciate everybody tuning into these videos every day. It really means so much to me. Having you all there to hold me accountable really, really helps me more than I can say. If you haven't subscribed already to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do that, as well as like the video and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when I upload videos. If you haven't already, check out my Patreon. It's Booth 42 on Patreon if you want to get updates behind the scenes when I start working on the illustrations, and really talking about the whole printing process as well. I'll also post updates for the Kickstarter when I eventually launch that as well. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow.